Chris, let me know when you go live.
I think we're live now.
We are.
Go ahead and get started.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the Policy Committee meeting. Thank you all for being here. At this time, you go live. I'm sorry?
Live now.
We are.
Go ahead and get started. I need to close it out. Okay, now we should be good. Sorry about that.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Policy Committee meeting. At this time, we will ask for the minutes. No, that's not what we'll do first. What we will do first is that we will ask for a motion to approve the minutes. Approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as presented for the meeting this afternoon. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next on the agenda would be the minutes. You've had time to read over the minutes. Are there any questions or concerns about the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will be accepted as presented. The next item on the agenda would be our policy updates. Dr. Catalano.
Okay, we have got one policy included in this section of the agenda. This policy has is policy 4700, which is our student records policy. And the revisions that we have, we've actually discussed with Barrington Smith. Both Rod Malone and Lindsay have taken a look at the adjustments to this policy, and they're related to remote learning. Requires that the teachers teach through an online platform. We're using Zoom for that, and the teachers have the capability to record their lessons in Zoom so that students can, so that they can be posted in the learning management platform, and students can go back and review the recorded lesson if for some reason they missed the lesson, or if they just want to review the information at a later date. And so this would allow, the change to this policy would allow us to do that. And it would consider the recording a student record that is a directory information. And the policy changes were on page 9. And it's in the listing of what we designate as directory information. As you know, we've already got several items that are considered directory information. At our meeting in June, we actually changed some of this policy to expand the photograph to include digital, still or video images. The change that was recommended is here in the second, well, I guess just underneath that, where we would allow for recording of videos, and parents and the video would be posted in just that classroom's learning management platform. So it would not be posted publicly. It would not be able to be posted publicly, like on a website or anything, but just within the learning management platform, so that students who are in that classroom could see their own recorded video.
Are there any questions about policy 4700? All right, then let's move on to the next policy.
That's actually the only one, the only Nash County Public School update, the rest our School Board Association updates. So do we want to approve this one or just move forward with the next group of policies?
We can do them all because this one's gonna have to lay on the table for 30 days, right?
So
This is new.
it is new. In talking with Rod, he felt that this, as well as the other policies that we're going to be talking about today, and I should have said this to begin with, I apologize, that if the committee agrees, it would be beneficial to have the 30 days waived at the September meeting so that teachers could start recording as soon as possible.
Okay, well then, that would be the case with all of the policies we're
That would be
talking
the case
about
with
today.
all of the policies, yes, ma'am.
All right, well, we can do them all at the same time.
Okay. So the next group of policies, the next two groups of policies are all related changes that are resulting from a Title IX Education Amendment Act revision. And this is to the definition of sexual harassment, and there are a series of policies that will be are required to be changed as a result of this new the new legislation. And the legislation went into effect on August 14th, which is the reason for requesting the 30-day waiver. Lindsay, if you could kind of add to the why behind the changes to these policies, and then we'll go through them and talk a little bit more about each one.
Sure, absolutely. So basically what happened is the rules implementing Title IX, which is the statute that protects against gender discrimination in education. The rules regulating Title IX were changed. It was a new set of rules that went into effect this summer. And basically what these rules do is they update the definition in particular of sexual harassment, and then they outline a very specific process by which educational agencies need to investigate claims of sexual harassment. They need to provide notice about an investigation process. They need to investigate claims of sexual harassment, and then they need to provide a potential for a hearing on those claims, and a number of other fairly extensive processes that are similar in some ways to the processes that boards have already adopted for general grievances and complaints about harassment and discrimination, but they're they're more extensive in other ways, and they overlap a little bit with some of the state law processes as well. So anyway, because they're more extensive, the updates to the policy are necessary, and we've known that this has been coming for a long time. And so that's why the School Boards Association has been working on these policies to essentially implement those changes to Title IX. What's happened is because Title IX has this very specific set of new rules, what I think the reason behind the school board's changes are to say, all right, let's take out Title IX complaints and put those in their own policy, so that this sort of set of very specific, fairly extensive processes applies only to Title IX complaints. And then to the extent that there are other types of discrimination complaints that might arise under different federal laws, we'll have the process that we've always had, which is, again, not, certainly not shoddy in any way, but maybe doesn't have some of the same requirements that the Title IX process. I think what the rationale behind the school board's changes is to say, we certainly don't want the district to have to go through this very extensive process for every single type of complaint that a parent might make about bullying, for example, or something like that. What we want is we want this process to apply only to complaints of sexual harassment that arise under Title IX. And so what I think what I think has happened is that it looks much more complicated in terms of the policies that have come out from the School Boards Association and in terms of the changes, but that's sort of the way that the changes, the rationale behind them. And so what we're going to have and what you're going to see from Dr. Catalano is that we've got essentially edits to the two policies that have to do with the prohibition against discrimination, harassment, and bullying, and the process for investigating those complaints. And then you're going to have a new policy regarding the Title IX, or I think it's changes to the existing Title IX policy to implement those new procedures. And then there are some other changes to some of the other policies to sort of bring them in line with these changes. So that's why there's so many policies that have been implemented. They've all kind of had to shift because of this new set of guidelines that has come out.
Thank you. So the first thing that we need to talk about is the rescinded policy. So we had essentially two main policies that encompass discrimination, harassment, and bullying together. So both of those policies are being rescinded and they're being replaced with a series of brand new policies. So policy 1710, 4021, 1730 is being rescinded, and then policy 1720, 4015, and 7225 is being rescinded, which is the procedure policy. And then those are being replaced with, we have two new policies that the first one is 1710, 4020, 7230, which is essentially replacing the rescinded policy. And this one is discrimination and harassment prohibited by federal law specifically. And then policy 4329, 7311, which separates out the bullying and harassment prohibited behaviors prohibited. We have Mr. Farrow here to answer any questions if anyone has those. Questions. I can pull those two policies up as well. So this is the first brand new policy. So you'll see there aren't any changes to it because it's been entirely rewritten. And then this is the second policy that separates out bullying and harassment behavior. Do we want to go to the next set of policies? Or
are there questions? Are there any questions on policy 1710? All right, let's move on then.
Okay, 4329, any questions? All right, the next group of policies relates specifically to Title IX, and we do have Angie Miller on the call with us if there are any questions about these policies. The first one is 1720, 4030, 7235. So this one is a brand new policy as well. Title IX, non-discrimination on the basis of sex.
Are there questions for Angie? Go to the next one.
Okay, the next one, Title IX, sexual harassment, policy 4035, 7236. This is sexual harassment prohibited conduct and the reporting process for that.
Are there questions? Okay, let's move on to the next one.
All right, the next one is another Title IX. Actually, this is a regulation. I'm sorry, this is a regulation that will go with the 1725 policy. And the regulation includes just definitions on Title IX sexual harassment. So this regulation would go into detail about what each one of those items mentioned within the policy mean in relation to the policy.
Chris, can I interrupt you?
Yep.
On that one? I know that, so is that regulation, I know that the district doesn't typically adopt regulations. So are you, is that actually, has that been pulled into 1720, the text of 1725?
So no, it has not been pulled into 1725. We did talk about incorporating it and decided that because it really was just definitions, that we'd rather just keep the regulation as it is. We do have, and I don't remember what the other policy, we have one other set of regulations around just definitions as well. So we did decide to keep the regulation.
Thank you.
We don't have many, we don't have regulations in our policies anyway, do we? I don't remember one.
We have one, it's bomb threats actually, and we have a definition regulation under that policy.
Okay. Okay.
Madam Chair. Yes, ma'am.
Dean, okay.
Where do we post these?
So the regulations go in the policy manual right alongside the policy itself. And I can actually show you where they are. We have this one right here. When you see the blue box, that means there's a regulation attached to it. And when you open it up, it's got the regulation code next to it. So this is the regulation responding to bomb threats that has the definitions involved with that policy. So they go right in the manual itself.
Other than definitions, what is normally contained in the regulation as to why we might not include it or have it?
So those are the only regulations that we have. I'm trying to think back to, we did have a set of regulations that came down from the School Board Association, actually related to, and we've got Angie on the call, child nutrition programs. And the regulations we decided to just incorporate into the policy itself rather than have a separate regulation document. So normally we don't take the regulations in cases like this where it was just definitions. We've used the regulation too.
Yeah, this is Angie. That's right, Dr. Catalano. I think that was actually the wellness policy regulations that went along with child nutrition, and it was all under child nutrition. That is accurate.
Are there other questions? All right. Chris, next policy.
Okay, the next is the Title IX sexual harassment grievance process. So this lays out in detail the grievance process that Lindsay was speaking to, and is a new policy as well.
All right, are there questions? The next policy.
Okay, and we've got Ms. Privet on the call with us. The next policy is related to human resources. It's policy 7232, or yes, 7232, discrimination and harassment in the workplace. And this is a new policy as well. This was incorporated under 1710 in our previous policy, all lumped together with the student discrimination and the workplace discrimination.
Are there questions? This group is quiet today. I'm not used to this.
We're gonna have a record in time.
Next policy.
Okay, so the next policies are a group of policies that are revisions in reference to the new policies that we have. So all of these again are still Title IX changes. The first one, and we've got Christy Grant here if there are any questions about this. This is a revision to an existing policy 1730, non-discrimination on the basis of disabilities.
Any questions? All right, then let's go on to the next one.
Okay, the next one, again, is a human resource policy, staff student relations, policy 4040. And again, changes in reference to the Title IX policy.
Any questions? Next one. You didn't send us a cheat sheet this time, so I can't hardly keep up with you.
Oh, I think that there, if I didn't, I apologize. There was one that went with them.
I couldn't find my cheat sheet. If you said I couldn't find it.
So the next two policies are, we have Mr. Farrow here. They're related to student discipline. The first one, assaults and threats. This one removes harassment from the policy because it was in the new policy that was that we previously talked about. And the second one that goes along with that is school level investigations, policy 4340. So that is two policies there.
Questions? Next policy.
Those are all of the policies.
Okay, as I said, I can't keep up with all we've done. So let me see if I can figure out where we are.
Actually, you know what? Hang on a second. I may have.
I'm sorry.
Let me just make sure that I've covered all of them. Yeah, we did that one, right? That's all of them. I'm sorry.
I've tried to jot down the policies as we were going through them, but I'm sure I missed some. So, Chris, would you call out the numbers for each of the policies that we've seen today?
Well, we had 4,700, 1710, 4329, 1720, 1725, 1725 a regulation, 1726, 7232, 1730, 4040, 4331, 4340, and we had two rescinded policies, 1710 and 1720.
Okay, help me with this, one of you. The rescinded policies, do we have to vote on those as well? I think we do, but I'm not sure.
So because the 1710 is replaced completely, but 1720 is not. The numbers were changed a little bit. So I would say probably, and Lindsay, you can help us out here. Probably vote separately on the rescinded ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would. You'll need to vote separately on the. I would vote first on the two rescinded policies, and then you can vote. Then you should be able to vote to adopt the new policies that would replace them.
All right. Second question, Lindsay.
Yes, ma'am.
The regulation one. Do we have to vote on that as well?
No, typically the regulations are the policy itself authorizes the superintendent to adopt the regulations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I would say the board would not have to vote on that one.
Okay. Is there a motion then to recommend to the full board that we approve the rescinded policies 1710 and 1720?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we recommend to the full board approval for rescinded policies 1710 and 1720. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Dean says aye.
I say aye. Reggie,
Aye.
Lank,
Aye.
and Bill's not here. All opposed? Nay. Motion carried. Now, is there a motion to recommend to the full board that we approve policies 4700, 7232, 1726, 1710, 4329, 1720, 1725, 1726, 7232, and 1730, 40, 4331, 4340 to waive the 30 days and approve at the board meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been moved and approved that we recommend to the full board that we approve policies as named and waive the 30 days. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Dean says aye.
The rest of you?
Aye.
All right, are there any nays? All opposed? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the policy, recommend to the board to approve the policies and waive the 30 days. Is there anything else to claim our attention? If not, I declare the meeting adjourned. Dr. Ellis,
Yes, ma'am.
did Mr. Farrell come in?
He is sitting right here. Well, okay.
I had sent to those, I had sent an email to Dr. Ellis asking if there was an update on the transportation department, and Mr.